This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look. Hello, welcome to episode 137 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda. In this episode, I will tell you what I've been up to in terms of knitting and a little bit of hand sewing in these past 2 weeks. Less than usual because of reasons that I will explain. In the section after the knitting, I'll give you a quick update about where we are at in terms of making progress with our plans to move out of the UK to France. And then in the last section, Layercake, introducing a pre-order that runs a little bit longer than usual. I'll talk more about that towards the end of this section. Of Breeches and Smocks pre-order in the mid-weight linen that runs a little bit longer than usual. But first, knitting update and a little bit of hand sewing. As regular viewers will recognize, I have my Cashmere Cardigan that I am knitting and copying in terms of shape and size, a very old linen cardigan that I have. I've got that pinned together, at least the front panels pinned onto the example, and it's just to show you the difference between the right panel, which has finished and has been blocked, and the left panel, which has been finished and has not been blocked. So you can see what blocking does. You've got strange little stitches, too big here. This was obviously a stitch that I corrected and pulled back up, and all of that will kind of even out with a good old steam block. I have literally just cast on and knit 2 rounds of the first sleeve. I'm knitting the sleeves in the round, but I'm knitting them from the top down, and I have not connected them yet to the panels. I will sew them in just like I will sew up the sides, but I might as well knit this in the round. It's easier and faster than knitting it open and flat like I did the other panels. No more purling, of course, so it'll be quicker. But that does mean I have to pick it up for it to be quick, and I haven't picked it up at all. Well, I finished this front panel and that's been it. I've got the back panel here as well. That's been finished for quite a while, as you may know. I just didn't bother holding it upside down. I just didn't bother pinning that on the cardigan. I just wanted to show you the difference between a blocked and unblocked front panel. And what I have been working on, at least a bit, is another pair of socks. With this, knitting on this in the evening works absolutely fine, but I kept putting off casting on the sleeve, and I needed to do the calculations as to how many stitches to cast on. That's why I haven't made any progress on it. But in the meantime, while I was procrastinating about my sleeve stitch count, I did cast on another sock that I'm working on in the evenings, on the rare occasion at the moment that we have a chance to relax and watch some TV or listen to some music without other chores. Then I'm working on another pair of socks. I forgot to put this sock on the sock blocker. This is one of the Snuggly Stars yarns. I think it's called, it's a boy's name and then rainbow. It's a rainbow color that she does. I've forgotten which one of the rainbow colors. And as you can see, I'm nearing the decreases for the toe. I have to knit a little bit further because this is another pair of socks for my husband who wears a size 11 shoe. And I have applied the same recipe that I did with the blue and grey striped ones that I did before. 68 stitches on the leg, a partridge heel, Dutch heel turn and flap, and then decreasing an extra 4 stitches. So then round the foot is 64 stitches. So I'll go from 68 through the heel and then to 64 stitches. He loves those proportions. And I'm going to just keep going with yarn that runs 400 meters per 100 grams. up to 425, I guess. That is perfect proportions for him. This is rather a nice yarn that I requested. I think is it Oscar's Rainbow? If I can find it back, I'll let you know. But it's been dyed on a yak base, a yak sock base. I love the yak sock base. I used to carry it myself as yarn, and I figured that a pair of socks with the yak sock base, nice and luxurious. I think they've got a bit of nylon in them, and then merino and yak. And the colors have come out beautifully because, of course, the yak has a color to it. It's kind of this like almost liver colored, muted light brown color. And of course, then the colors that you dye on top of that, there's a little bit of that brown shining through, so your colors get a bit darker. I love what's happened, and I really like the colorway. This is sock number 1, so I'll be a while before the next one is finished, hopefully by the next episode, although I will skip a week with the next episode. I'll talk about that as well later on. 1 sock in the making, and then my third project that I've put a little bit of effort into just to see if it would work, so I don't have a lot to show you, is these 2 shawls. Maybe you remember that I was talking about having bought 2 shawls in a sale of 2 cashmere shawls in a sale of a business that was closing shop, and I have by hand sewn these 2 together. And then I have this vintage, had it for 35 years or so, Kenzo jungle cotton shawl with these beautiful big rose prints on it. And I have decided how to put the rose print shawl onto the 2 cashmere shawls that I've connected together. I've gone for like a lozenge shape, so if I just show you one half, then you can imagine that the other half is doing the same thing, but in as a mirror image. As always, I am doing this on the fly. Haven't really thought this through beforehand, but here we have. So you can see below the point of the cotton shawl, you can see the connection of the 2 cashmere shawls that I have sewn together by hand. I should show it like this because there it is. And it, of course, doesn't hang properly because they're not properly connected to each other yet. That explains the fold in the cashmere at the bottom of the cotton point. But below it, you see a seam. That's literally the 2 cashmere shawls put on top of each other like that, and then sewing them together with a running stitch using a Gepard lace weight cashmere yarn that I've showed you in one of the previous episodes. So if I turn it around and show that seam in a bit more detail, that's what it looks like. So that's just the 2 held on top of each other, and then with a running stitch sewn together. Then what I am doing is in the middle of the shawl, starting from the center, there are, of course, all these flower shapes. And what I have started to do, both with that kind of yellowy chartreusey Gepard cashmere color, as well as with the shocking pink color that I have, is again in a running stitch, I've started to outline some of the flowers. So going through both of the layers, both the cotton as well as the cashmere. So I'll try and hold that up in a way that you can see the front of what I've done with the flower. I hope that that is visible. So just a running stitch going around the outside of the flower here, and then in the back you can just see the outline of the stitches. Again, I hope that that comes across. I'll check that when I edit the video. If it's not visible, I'll take photographs and put them in. So that is the back, and alongside it here, you can see exactly the same, but with a different flower and outlined in the pink. And of course the pink you can see much more clearly on the back. So I'm going to outline all flowers in the different colors, just random. And then on the back, so on the back I get this, I'm going to get this hodgepodge of these connected fabrics kind of stitched through with the two different colors. And on the front I have the emphasis of those extra threads surrounding the blooms. Can't see it very clearly, but it's this one and that one at the moment. Of course there'll be a lot more of them. So that's the idea, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to end up with a lovely big shawl that will have a little bit of more weight and warmth than just a very, very thin cashmere has. I just love big shawls. So I will keep you posted on that whenever I have time to work on it. This is another one that needs a little bit of dedication to work on. Because the easiest way to work it, actually I should try with an embroidery hoop, although the cashmere is woven so gently that I think that forcing an embroidery hoop on it may already disturb the threads, the very thin cashmere threads, and I don't want to do that. So at the moment, the way I've been sewing them is to just lay the whole thing flat on the table, and then you kind of pick through. So I'll try and work out a way to be able to work on this in different environments, because then I'll work a lot faster. I tend to do something else as well when I'm doing needleworks or whatever, watching TV if I can. But I don't know whether it's going to work with this yet, so I'll keep you posted on that. But that's project number 3. Haven't touched any other projects, haven't touched any crochet, and that is because I've been busy with getting the house ready. So let me give you an update on that separately and tell you where we are in our adventure of eventually moving to France. Well, now the French house move. We are hopefully today, this is just on the Friday, the day that I published this podcast, hopefully going to go live with our house listing on the estate agent's website, so that people can start seeing it and can come and see it if they're interested. So we will finally officially put the house on sale. There's been one family who've seen it so far. It wasn't quite right for them because they've got a daughter with special needs. They loved the house though. So what we are really keeping our fingers crossed for is that the right kind of people will come along really soon, and we've got an offer on the house really quickly. What we've been doing though in the run up to today, and a lot of it was over the last week and a half, was to get the house ready to be filmed and photographed in order to put it on the website. And that in our case entailed a lot of decluttering. And we've been in this house for 24 years, nearly 24 years. So 24 years of bringing up a family, and that family flying the nest, the kids at least, and some other stuff still being around which needed to be sorted. And just the fact that if you don't have to decide whether you're going to keep something or not, you just end up leaving it. So we focused our own mind by saying, okay, now if I want to keep this, do I want to keep this? Yeah, I think I want to keep this. Do I want to keep it badly enough to pay someone to cart it across the channel for me to a different house? That was for me, that was a great way to focus the mind. So I think we've already done 6 or 7 runs to the tip. We're jettisoning some furniture that we don't want to keep. The studio is chock full of stuff that we wanted to take out of the house to make it look more neutral, for want of a better word, so that other people could project themselves living in that environment a bit more easily. And we finally finished that until by the time the photographer came on Tuesday, just this past Tuesday afternoon. So has been photographed. I was absolutely bushed after that because we worked so hard. But by now I've caught up again, so I'm a lot more chipper again today. And hopefully the house will go on the market. Meanwhile, we have talked through the compromis de vente is called. It's a sales contract for the French mill that we found that we are absolutely desperate to own. And the owners have very gracefully agreed not to ask us to pay the 10% deposit which you normally pay when you're buying a house in France. It's that first agreement that is the binding one, and then the exchange of contracts 2 or 3 months later is more of a formality. So the whole thing with gazumping and chains falling down like you have here in the UK, that doesn't really exist in France at all. So that's where it becomes tricky for us to see how fast we can sell our house here, and whether we end up getting an offer from a family that is stuck in some kind of chain. Fingers crossed that that's not going to happen. So we have not had to pay that 10% deposit that we would lose if the sale does not go ahead. And we have pre-agreed a set amount of time for us to try and sell our house in. And if we don't manage to do that, then the sellers will reserve the right to remarket their house. So they've been unbelievably friendly and accommodating in that respect with us. And they're just hoping just as hard as we do that our house will sell quickly. It's a one-of-a-kind house. Once it's actually live, I will show you some more pictures of it. I won't go into that today yet because we're not quite there yet. But I will show you a bit of what our house is like at the moment. And once we actually have a house sale here in the UK, I can hopefully also show you the house that we are keen to move into, because it is quite a place. I'm so excited about it. And I'm normally one of those people who ends up being quite well reserved, not to want to try not to commit to something that I don't actually have a proper control over whether it's going to come off or not, because we can't control our house sale completely here in the UK, and as such we can't control whether we will be able to buy this mill or not. But boy, am I keen. Am I keen, as is Peter, my other half. So very exciting times. But that's where we're at in terms of France. So before diving into Layercake, a little bit about sequencing of podcasts and newsletters, because I'm kicking off the pre-order of the Breeches and Smocks with a podcast, like I did a couple of weeks ago when I kicked off the Love Dress pre-order with a podcast, and then followed by a newsletter. That newsletter then only gives newsletter readers a long weekend to make up their mind as to whether they want to jump in on that pre-order, which is not very short, not very long. I normally go with a newsletter and then followed by a podcast. So here I am kicking off another pre-order with a podcast. So that will be followed by a newsletter. But then the week after that, which is the last Friday of April, which normally would be a podcast week, I'm going to skip because I'll be building the stand at Wonderwall. I'm going to be at Wonderwall one more time this year, and I'm bringing my husband with me. So if you'll be interested to meet him and you're coming to Wonderwall, come and say hello to us. But we'll be in the usual place, stand number K1 in Hall 2, I think it is. Well, there's only one K1 stand, so we're not difficult to find, always in the same spot and always the same size stand. So we'll be there again this year. and I've got lots and lots of goodies with me. I'll have lots of things on special offer because of course I'm still trying to reduce stock, trying to reduce especially stock on the knitting and tool side, but I'll also have ready to ship layer cakes with me again that will be on special offer, some samples, etc. So there'll be lots of goodies there, as well as a selection of fabric remnants that I will be taking to Wonderwool as well. So that week, that last Friday of April, there will be no podcast. So it'll be podcast this week, next week a newsletter, the week after that no podcast, and then the first week, the first Friday in May will be a newsletter week again, probably announcing another pre-order, or if not, then any of the special offers and goodies that I'm bringing back from April will be listed on the website then for you to snap up if you haven't been able to come to the show. So that gives you an idea of where I'm at in terms of timing with my activities here at the studio. But before all of that continues to unfold, have a look at the next pre-order of Breeches and Smocks. Enjoy. Tunics and troons, or smocks and breeches. You choose how you want to call it. I couldn't make up my mind. I'm starting this section with a pair of breeches in the regular length, so they're cropped on me in the mid-weight linen, in all everything. I think everything I'm going to show you is mid-weight linen. I haven't actually checked, but I think it is. It's supposed to be anyway, in a mid-weight linen in the crop length, regular length, so great length for summertime when it gets warmer. And I'm wearing that with a pop-over shirt in white in size 1, I think. I will check that in a minute and report back. Of course, I can fold up the sleeves, the nice wide closed cuffs to create that slightly more summery 3/4 length look. And now I'm going to keep that on and add a smock to it in the same color, charcoal cross. Here it is, charcoal cross smock with the breeches in the same color. I've got that a number of times to match up the color of the smock with the breeches. But of course you can mix and match any way you like, choose any color you want from the mid-weight linen collection, for which I have made a new page to show all the fabrics on the roll, so you can see, get a better impression of what the garments look like. What the fabric looks like up close. Of course, the way the garments look, you can see on me here. So still with the pop-over shirt, I did check that is a size 1. Sleeves folded up, lovely combination of just very muted, a nice contrast in terms of the charcoal and the white, but muted in terms of not bright colors. And of course I can keep that charcoal theme going, but then start playing with the color of the top I'm wearing underneath. Let me show you an example of a bright one. Of course, bright doesn't have to mean light. This is the nightshade color, which I don't have any fabric of anymore, but I have a couple of garments left in nightshade, and this is one of them. This is one of the cap tops in size 1, and just a nice pop of color. And like I said, bright doesn't have to be light. It can be a darker color like this is, and then together with the charcoal makes for a lovely ensemble. I actually also have a pair of breeches left in the nightshade color. So I'm going to change the breeches from charcoal to nightshade. This is the regular length, and I'm going to change that now to the long length so you can see the difference. So these are the breeches in the long length in nightshade. Again, I don't have any more fabric, so if any of the nightshade garments that I'm showing you capture your attention and you think, ooh, I quite like that, then look at the ready to ship garments, because that's where you'll find the nightshade garments that I've got left in stock. A cap top, the breeches in the large long length, and I'm about to add another garment just to show you how well that works underneath a smock, which is a cap gather dress. Cap gather dress in the size 1 regular length, so that same short cap sleeve that just covers the top of your arms if you prefer that. I do, because of all the extra bits that I've got there. Don't always want to put them on display unless they've caught a little bit of a tan, and I'm way from catching any tan because going flat out on getting the house ready for sale, as you know by now, because I keep waxing lyrical about it. But a regular length dress with the breeches in the same color. I'll take the breeches off as well so you can just see that combination of a regular length dress with a size 2 smock. If this was a size 1 smock, it would fit beautifully, of course, as well with the size 1 cap gather dress, and it would be ever so slightly shorter than the size 2 smock. But you get a good impression, so let me remove the trousers. Trousers gone, smock still in place, bit more of a summery outfit, and then of course I can go all out nightshade if I remove the smock as well. I'll show you. So of course I know that this section is about the smocks and the breeches rather than a dress like this one, but I want to show you all that extra fabric that is part of the dress and how that just disappears when worn underneath a smock. So it doesn't get bunchy, it doesn't feel restricting in any way. They just sit and flow beautifully together. And of course, with that smock and the breeches and the dress, you can make a couple of different outfits just with those 3 garments. So perfect for going away on a weekend break, a long weekend, or even a week away. Then just a couple of garments make a wonderful wardrobe to play with while you are away. Let me keep going and add a new color. Smock and breeches, back in the regular length breeches, so slightly cropped, and then with that regular length dress, both in the new Loganberry color. Of course I had to bring Loganberry into the trousers and into the smocks as well, and you can see here how lovely and berry-like the Loganberry is when combined with the nightshade. So I'll move on to show you Loganberry next to magenta next, because of course magenta is in the Loganberry, but it's cross-woven with black. But if you see it next to magenta, you'll recognize more of the pink that the Loganberry color has in it. A love top in magenta, worn with the same smock and breeches, but now having that nightshade dress not in between any longer, so it's more of a one color outfit, and then with a little bit of an accent picking up on the pink that's in the Loganberry smock and breeches. So moving on from here, what I want to show you is how the very popular color black currant goes with Loganberry, because the pink in Loganberry pulls the black away from that really dark spectrum into the direction of a purple. So since black currant is a purpley kind of black, or a black kind of purple, however you look at it, however you want to describe it, black currant and Loganberry are gorgeous together. Let me show you. I thought I'd show it to you without the smock first, because this is the love tunic rather than the love top. So it's longer, it's got a bit of a sweep on the hem, it's got an A-line from the waist down. So it's a very nice, very flattering, very easy to wear tunic, together with a pair of breeches, in this case in the regular length. So that little bit cropped on me, like I said. Then with my 3/4 length sleeves, that because of the way we finished the sleeves, the sleeves on the love top and the love tunic, you can then still fold up and make a little bit shorter and more summery as well. I will put the smock back on now, and I'll change the color of the breeches in the next color that I want to show you. I don't think we've done breeches in Magpie yet, but I'm going to show them to you now. I was keen to show you this combination because it's 3 different colors. So it's black currant, loganberry, and magpie for the trousers, for the breeches. And those 3 colors together, it's another example of almost being able to pick blind, throw them on together and think, oh, actually, this is a really nice color combination. They always all go together. We're in that kind of darker kind of combination of colors here. Of course, you can choose much lighter colors for your smock and for your breeches, but I wanted to show you a muted color, a muted combination, I mean, that is still quite colorful, especially, of course, the loganberry, the brightest of the 3, but kind of muted down a little bit because I've chosen a darker color for my top and for my trousers. So let's keep going. I'm going to keep playing with colors and show you another muted outfit. Still the magpie trousers and still the loganberry smock, but this time worn with a love top, a cocoon love top in the slate color. So again, that same shape, the 3/4 length sleeves, but this time stretchy. This is also a size 1. I wanted to show you that loganberry can be worn with lots of different dark and muted and neutral colors. Navy would go really well too. It's one of those very versatile colors. It doesn't have to be black that you combine it with if you want to wear it with a neutral. So this is it with slate. Now I'm going to add the magpie smock, because like I told you, I've got lots of matching outfits of smock and breeches to show to you today. It's such a effective way of wearing those 2 garments together. But I'm going to keep the slate love top on to begin with, just to show you all those muted colors together. One of the things I always notice when I wear these darker colors and these more muted colors, especially if they are cross weaves that don't have a lot of contrast in them, like the magpie does, is that the emphasis all of a sudden shifts from color onto the shape of the garments. And of course, both in the case of the breeches as well as the smock, we've got quite an unusual garment shape. Very simple and very architectural, for want of a better word, but very effective and very unusual. And that really jumps out more when you're wearing these more muted colors. And like I said, where there's less emphasis on the cross weave in the linen. So still with the slate love top, I'm going to switch that up again. I started with that high contrast between charcoal cross and a white popover shirt. I'm now going to keep this magpie on and change the color of my cocoon shirt and make it light and bright. I cannot believe that I still have any of these cocoon love tops in white left in stock, because they are just wonderful to wear in the warmer months and have a nice light. It's a proper optic white, so it's a white as opposed to white linen, which always has a slightly milky hue to it. This is a proper optic white, and as such makes, of course, a wonderful contrast with a color like magpie. Magpie, of course, a wonderful alternative for those of you who wear a lot of navy. This makes a very nice alternative to navy, and if navy looks good on you, then magpie will look smashing on you as well. So magpie smock, white cocoon love top in the size 1. The smock is a size 2. I'm going to change the color of my breeches. Breeches in royalty. Royalty, of course, being a cross weave of the purple that is in blackcurrant with teal. So it makes for a darky bluey kind of color, but as you can see, not the same as Magpie. It's a different color. It's slightly lighter, and when you look up close, you can very clearly see the teal in it. But it's a really good combination with Magpie, which is why I'm showing it to you here. I've gone back to the long length, as you can see. So this is full length breeches on me, together with the smock. The breeches are large in terms of sizing, and they really emphasize leg length, as you can see, because they don't have a dropped crotch like the slackers have, for example, and the baggies, of course, in extreme. Let me change the smock to a royalty smock as well, so you can see what happens against the white when the contrast is not quite as sharp as the Magpie, and I do a matching trouser and smock again. Slightly softer, slightly lighter, matching trousers and smock again with that optic white of my Cocoon Love Top. What do we think? Let me know. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one more dress on. I'm going to stick with the white, so it's going to be the shirt dress, so you can see it popping up in between my smock and my breeches, in the white that is the white in linen, so slightly more milky, slightly softer, slightly less harsh. If white really just doesn't look good on you, then the softer white of the linen may be a good solution for you. Also want to show you another layer in between the trousers and the smock, even though the trousers and the smock are still the same color. A shirt dress in size 2 in white, linen white, worn underneath my royalty smock and over the top of my royalty breeches, rolling up, folding back the sleeves to make them more like a bracelet length. And as you can see, that lovely wide hemline with the split at the sides of the dress, the slightly longer back, the slightly shorter front. Gorgeous, worn and layered, of course, with something like a smock. Right, I'm nearly there. I'm going to show you, or for once, remember to tell you about what we're looking at here. To my left is a pre-loved panel skirt in a natural herringbone, worn with a joy jacket in the joy jacket, of course, always double-sided, always undyed on one side, and the other side in this case is the chartreuse herringbone. Then next to that we have an outfit of a swish dress, also in the natural undyed linen, worn over the top of Cocoon baggies and a love top, both in turmeric. So you can see that with all these outfits I've gone for combinations of neutral undyed linen with a yellow. And then right at the end is the same dress that I'm wearing, the shirt dress, but in this case in hay, worn over the top of a grey anytime top, so the light grey, which is almost the same color as undyed linen, and a pair of baggies in the black gingham, which also has undyed linen in it. So if any of these strike a chord with you, take your fancy, you will find all of these in the ready to ship garments, which goes pretty much for everything that I'm wearing. This dress as well, a size 2. I think the hay dress is a size 2 as well. Shirt dress in the ready to ship section of the website as well. I will put one other color with this matching outfit that you may not necessarily think of because of the purple and teal in here, but I realized that a wonderful color, going back to the darker muted colors to wear with royalty, is sangria. Here it comes. Interesting combination, isn't it? I love it, because sangria is kind of a slightly darker, more winey kind of red color, going towards the Bordeaux kind of spectrum. it actually picks up on the red that is in the purple of the black currant in the cross weave with the teal. So whereas worn with white, this looks quite tealy, when worn with the red, the sangria, it really picks up on the red, and the whole outfit ends up looking a bit more bluey rather than tealy. So that was the last one that I wanted to show you. As you'll be able to see, there's an extra discount if you order a pair of breeches and a smock, rather just breeches or a smock. Have a look at the details on the website, and this promotion will run for longer than usual because it will cover, instead of just 2 weeks of podcast and newsletter, or newsletter and podcast, it will go newsletter or podcast, newsletter week, and then the next Friday is this last Friday of the month, which is when I'm building the stand at Wonderwall. And of course, I can't possibly get a podcast out to you in the same week that I'm driving to Wonderwall and building a stand there to exhibit our wares that weekend, that last weekend of April. So there will not be a newsletter or a podcast on the last Friday of April. I'm sure I'll make up for it in the weeks following that. And it means that you have a little bit longer to decide if and what you would like to order in this double promotion of breeches and smocks. Any questions, let me know. If you're still here and you've watched the whole episode, thank you so much for hanging out with me for this long, and I'll see you again soon.